Hello, I'm Ben Mankiewicz. Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome to TCM on a day devoted to so many F's. Football, food, feasting. Did I say football? Oh, also, I suppose, family and friends if we must. And if we have anything to say about it, movies. Films! When I say films. All right, as you baste your turkey, mash your potatoes, candy your yams, stuff your stuffing, and string your beans. Obviously, I don't do a lot of the cooking at home. We've got a succulent lineup of family classics to keep you company. We begin with Fred MacMurray straining the bounds of physics to cook up some comedy. From Walt Disney Productions in 1961, The Absent-Minded Professor. MacMurray plays college professor Ned Brainerd. Ned is so absent-minded. It was a little better than dress rehearsal. Not bad. Well done to the crew. That's a little tip of the cap to Gene Rayburn in the match game, by the way. As the picture opens, Ned's on his third attempt to marry his long-suffering fiancée, played by Nancy Olson, simply because he forgot to show up to the first two weddings. Nancy's a very understanding young woman. Turns out it's not looking good for wedding number 3 either, as Professor Brainerd is primarily focused on his anti-gravity experiments in his garage laboratory. His work goes sideways, and the resulting explosion produces a rubber-like residue that seems to contradict gravity. It's not rubber, it's flubber. Disney's early forays into live-action filmmaking leaned into stories of high adventure. Think Treasure Island in 1950 and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in 1954. But Disney's surprise 1959 hit, The Shaggy Dog, also starring MacMurray, as well as his co-star here, young Tommy Kirk, followed by the even greater success of The Absent-Minded Professor, set the tone for the studio's live-action output through the 1960s and 70s. A constant stream of family-friendly comedies followed, centered on a simple, fantastical premise. Think The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, Mary Poppins, and Freaky Friday. Here's this one, from 1961, directed by Robert Stevenson, nominated for 3 Academy Awards, The Absent-Minded Professor. The Absent-Minded Professor was a hit, and its success led to a 1963 sequel, Son of Flubber. Disney and Hasbro, the toy company, tried to capitalize on the release by marketing a real-life version of Flubber for kids. Good idea. Unfortunately, the supposedly lab-tested concoction of synthetic rubber, mineral oil, and green dye reportedly caused rashes all over the body, as well as sore throats and fevers, which, prompted a recall. When Hasbro tried to incinerate the dangerous goo, it released noxious black smoke, but would not actually burn. I'm sure it was safe to breathe. Anyway, Hasbro then enlisted the help of the Coast Guard to help sink it in the ocean. This is all completely true, only to watch it float back to the surface. I'm sure the fish loved it, helped them grow big and strong. Eventually, tons of the failed flubber wound up under a Hasbro warehouse parking lot in Providence, Rhode Island. The Absent-Minded Professor features 3 generations of the Wynn family. Keenan Wynn as the film's heavy, Alonzo P. Hawke, who tries to shut down the college before getting his literal comeuppance. Keenan's father, Ed Wynn, is the fire chief trying to save him, and Keenan's son, Ned Wynn, in a bit role. Notably, The Absent-Minded Professor marks the first contribution from Disney's composing legends, Richard and Robert Sherman, who wrote the Medfield fight song for the film. Sherman Brothers went on to write songs and scores for a long list of animated and live-action productions at the studio in the 1960s and 70s, including The Parent Trap, The Sword in the Stone, Mary Poppins, The Jungle Book, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and nearly all of Disney's Winnie the Pooh films. They also wrote the songs for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which we will have later today. Coming up, it's another man of science making unconventional breakthroughs, this time with animals and musical numbers. From 1967, Dr. Dolittle is next on TCM.
Next on TCM, Dr. Dolittle. Then Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And later, Little Miss Broadway. TCM takes a curtain call today.